Alright, hello everybody. I'm back. So, um, let's see here. It's not gonna happen like real soon, and I'm gonna stay on the platforms I'm on. I'm currently on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, um, Open Diary, and Prosebox. But since some of these other sites are starting to become popular and I'm kind of waiting for people to kind of settle down where they're going, I do plan on possibly showing up on those sites, and I'll let you know when I do. But right now I'm kind of extremely busy, and part of what I'm going to discuss today has to do with my doctorate that I'm pursuing, because I like to discuss what I'm reading and everything like that, because it helps me out pursuing my doctorate, especially if you have any insights for me or anything like that. And so I'm 4 weeks off of school, and so I'm doing a lot of reading right now. I'm gonna go over those two items that I've read. One of them I've fully read, one of them I'm kind of halfway through, but I'm gonna finish it up tonight. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the inauguration and rumor speculation. And for all good purposes, everything still is about my novel too, even my doctorate. So, let's get on board with the failure of progressive discipline. So the following ideas that I'm going to talk about are my notes from Discipline Without Punishment by Dick Grote. So around the 1970s, he was a supervisor at the Frito-Lay plant that fired 58 of its 210 employees. Well, he wasn't at that plant. He was upper management. He was higher up. And he discusses that the climate at that plant was toxic. The supervisors were proud of using the traditional progressive discipline system for all violations, serious or trivial. They eagerly wrote up troublemakers in an attempt to run off who they thought was bad. Every employee who received disciplinary contact was considered a troublemaker. His or her performance was attentively watched with the goal of finding sufficient evidence of misbehavior to whisk him or her through the disciplinary system and out the door. Of course, with this constant scrutiny, supervisors didn't have much trouble building a case to justify termination. In those kind of environments, all commitments disappear. Employees put forth only a minimal level of exertion. These workers became angry about the constant written warnings, suspensions without pay, reprimands, and terminations. They were looking for any way to get even with management. So one of them started writing obscene messages on potato chips, which I kind of find hilarious. Kind of sounds like something I would do. Like, fuck you. Dick Grote, the person who wrote the book, was given a task to go there and to shape those knuckleheads up. But what he would soon discover is that the progressive discipline system did not correct poor performance, but was generating it. And if you kind of think about it, does this sound like something that that is going on today with the left? They want to punish, punish, punish. They want to destroy, destroy, destroy. because they believe that it will correct what they deem bad behavior. The long-standing approach to discipline, warning, reprimands, suspensions without pay, produced belligerence, resentment, and sabotage. Frito-Lay scrapped all forms of punishments. They focused on insisting that people take personal responsibility for their choice of behavior and contact. They even abolished the unpaid suspension and replaced it with a paid disciplinary suspension. America's traditional progressive and disciplinary system does not need to be tuned up or tinkered with. It needs to be abolished. Punitive punishment has gotten our country nowhere. It doesn't even work in the criminal system. If you have a record, then good luck getting a job or an apartment or a place to rent. Why? Because the only good thing that America does is stick it up your ass and give you the big fuck you. So, where does this progressive disciplinary system come from? If you haven't already guessed it, unions. So, why did unions set up this disciplinary system? Unions demanded that companies eliminate summary terminations and instead develop a progressive system of penalties that would provide an employee with a new benefit: protection against losing their job without first being fully aware that their job was at risk. Unions, not management, invented disciplinary action. And this is the failure of the progressive discipline. Supervisors saw the formal disciplinary procedure as a way to build a case against an employee they decided to terminate. They used the system to terminate rather than rehabilitate. The system fails to meet its most basic responsibility, the development of productive and well-disciplined individuals. If an individual enters the system, the person almost never escapes it. And which similarly sounds like the criminal justice system too. Almost every employee who received a verbal warning received a written warning. Almost everyone who reached that point of the disciplinary suspension was fired not long after. The problem is the way we are administering the system. The problem isn't the way we are administering the system. The problem is the system itself. The basic premise of the traditional discipline system is that the crime must be followed by punishment, with its consistent quest to make the punishment fit the crime. And its awkward mix of both retribution and rehabilitation, progressive discipline is America's criminal justice system brought into the corporation. While the short-term consequences of punishment is an immediate improvement, the long-term results of punishment are disastrous. The use of punishment produces side effects and long-term consequences: anger, apathy, resentment, frustration. It just doesn't work, and it probably never will work. The new system needs to have positive contacts, performance improvement discussions, and termination is not a final step. Termination is the result of the is not the result of the employee, but the failure of the disciplinary system. To most people, punishment seems like a tough way of assuring compliance with organizational standards. If someone fails to meet expectations, we punish that individual until that individual complies. And that's really how America works most of the time. So now I'm going to switch to something different. This actually goes more into, the criminal system today, but the book is written by an attorney who calls forth for unitive justice, which is something I highly support because I'm Hermetic and I believe in oneness. And I think that the world is confused with dualism. Um, so the author is Sylvia Clute, and the book title is Beyond Vengeance, Beyond Duality. And the following are my notes from it. And justice emanates from love. Equality and balance are integral to its process. Enabling the system to embrace ever-changing possibilities without diminishing anyone's power. In this form of justice, all participants honor one another, enhancing harmony and goodwill in their interpersonal relationships. Forgiving the past is mutually beneficial, so that the present leads to a future free of anyone's bondage. And such justice emanates from love. Humanity sees duality. Humanity is blind to oneness. Our tax dollars pay to incarcerate 1 in every 53 adults in their 20s. America locks away the combined prison population of China and Russia. Our prison system basically takes care of the mentally ill, since the majority of the prison population has a mental illness. This means that our mental health system has failed. America does not face its problems. That would just be too hard. America would more rather lock you up, throw away the key, and erase you from their memory. The legal system is not alone in causing deeply felt pain and dysfunction. Many of us feel forced to choose between what our inner voice tells us and what our job requires. When we declare that we want justice, we announce that we want to get even. Our egos have always been the problem. We complain bitterly about the harm done by others while justifying the harm done by us. What we call justice is who has the better story. How can our court system understand the truth when it is not interested in the truth? Attorneys control the narrative in a dualistic approach with a God versus Satan battle. The system doesn't want you to be honest, because if you try to be honest, the system will punish you. We operate in a deeply flawed system. It is a fear-based, fragmented system of rigid mental concepts, often justified merely by virtue of the fact that this is how it has always been done. Separation among individuals and between communities is reinforced at every turn. We all pay. Despite our efforts to keep it out of sight and out of mind, our financial structures, religious institutions, educational systems, business practices, healthcare, and politics are all experiencing breakdowns similar to what is happening in the legal arena. When we look deeper, we start to see common elements that permeate the whole. What you think is over has really just been born. The world will change, the old system will fall, and a new beginning will be ushered in, but the question remains is, what will this new beginning be? So, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that possible new beginning. So the rumor, or, through the grapevine, we'll just say, that apparently America is no longer a corporation, and that was enacted in 1871 with something called the Organic Act, I believe, yeah. The Organic Act of 1871. And that incorporated America and made it a corporation, and it was either at that time or soon thereafter they ended up changing the inauguration date from March the 4th to January 20th. So there's a rumor that 19 might be inaugurated on the March the 4th. And what we're experiencing, I mean, they didn't come out and physically say, well, there is a CNN. On CNN, I mean, one of the military guys said, you know, yes, we're prepared for a smooth transition to military power. And I thought that was really strange. And I did say that this election was going to be confusing and uh, a lot of things. And that could still be a possibility because everything is supposed to appear dead before 19 comes about. And um, and I'm trying to remember the whole series of events that I read in 1998 about this time. And it, like I said, it seemed like, you know, Biden, you know, was the president, and then all of a sudden the writer said, oh no, you know, something weird is happening, and 19 begins to resurface. And he was confused because, from what I understand, or I think they're actually going to completely like impeach him, and I think that they might actually convict him in the Senate. But he ends up in the White House anyways, and that was, I think, one of the whole confusing things. And for that situation to happen, it would make sense that we aren't a corporation anymore and that we truly are the republic, because that would make sense with Trump being the last president for the corporation, but the new president for the republic. And I know that might sound confusing, and like I said, all this is going to be confusing. It still is confusing. But I don't think it is over yet. It may be over. I don't know. You know, I mean, there's a it, there's a lot that doesn't make sense, especially that Antifa.gov. I mean, Antifa.gov. I mean that Antifa.com actually redirects itself to the WhiteHouse.com, which was following the Joe Biden campaign. You know, before that happened, this happened, and I mean, to me, that's a clue. I mean, if and Joe Biden and his administration know about it, you can read about it in an interview. I mean, it's not anything new. So why don't they do anything about it? You know, that's a big question. And they don't do anything about it because it's, in my mind, it's true. They can. It shouldn't take them that long to block that redirect or anything like that. I mean, you can Google how to even, you know, do that. And they choose not to, and that's the thing, is that they choose not to do it. And so I'm still holding out for 19. I will say that. I don't know. You know, if not, you know, I plan on doing the whole Texit thing. Um, but, you know, we got to really take a look. I mean, we can't, like, you know, copy the American system anymore. The American system proved it failed when the elections were rigged and, you know, people weren't following the Constitution. They were just ignoring everything. It's like nobody wanted to listen. And that's really our biggest problem, is that nobody really wants to listen. On either side, I mean, the people on the right, I think the people on the right used to listen to the people on the left and try to debate them, but since it would always, like, end up going nowhere because of the leftist dictatorship, the right just kind of gave up arguing with them. Well, you know, we got to start bringing things back together, and we got to start having those discussions. Because if not, you know, I would like to see things heal. It's not going to heal under Biden, you know, still not my president. And, you know, I don't, yeah, and it's not going to heal under Harris. She's more damaging than Biden. So, you know, the great uniter is supposed to be coming. and I don't know who that person is, but I'm holding out hopes for the Great Uniter. Um, to me, I feel like whoever that person is, and I'm thinking that has to come in 2024, because Biden's not running again, and I really doubt that Harris can get elected on her own, unless they rig elections again. And well, I mean, if something's not done, I don't know if I'd even trust the person who they consider the Great Uniter. So I mean, the elections need to get fixed, but also the truth about everything that happened during the whole election process needs to be discussed, and it needs to be talked about. But that's basically my whole thing at the moment. But nobody really wants to talk about it, because if you do, they either just ignore you or block you, or they're like, it's settled, it's in the past. And I'm like, you're blind, you don't want to see things. But the energies, astrologically, we're stepping into the age of Aquarius. So we're coming to this moment, and both there's eye-opening situations that are supposed to happen in 2024 and at this time right now. And I'm really hoping this time right now breaks through. And so and there's gonna be a very confusing, chaotic kind of like haze that hangs around until March, actually. So we will see what happens. I still have hope, because to me that's just not the way how I read things in the novel, to the novel that I'm writing about. And yeah, so we'll just see. We'll find out. The time always tells. So we'll see what happens in March, maybe April. I'm thinking March though. But I'm starting to think that things might start to shake up on the right side. But the Republican Party is definitely finished. And if everything turns out to be true, what I'm saying, then I don't really see the Democrat Party lasting very much longer either, because they've done a lot of criminal things. And we'll just see. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'm going to be doing a poem probably the next time. So I'll see you. You'll see me, and you'll see my face with that one. I was just kind of enjoying doing something a little bit different, and I thought the emergency broadcast screen was a good way to do it. So anyways, we'll have fun, joke around, be positive, be alive, keep hope, whatever. We'll see what happens, as time reveals itself, because that's really the best way of doing things, just letting time reveal the way. Alright, well, peace out. Bye.